Hello and welcome to Heartbeat Alaska Native News and Native Information. I'm Jeannie Green. Today we have a very special program. It's all about our environment, the foods we eat and the nutritional value in those foods. And just right, perfect timing, in walks two special guests to my studios here in Anchorage, Alaska.
About this scale model of the Copper River fish wheel to present to you an appreciation for all the work you have been doing for the Alaska Native people.
Thank you so very much. It's such a pleasure to be doing the television programs, and to get a gift like this, I really am honored. Now tell me what part of the country you're from.
I was born in Unalakleet, Alaska.
This gift is absolutely fabulous. It has made my day, and I hope we make your day too with this fabulous program. I'll be back with more Heartbeat Alaska right after this.
It's Heartbeat Alaska. You can hear it from Sitka to Barrow. Gather around for Jeannie's show. It's
Our bodies are made entirely of what we eat. Whether it's diet, pop, and junk food, in rural Alaska, it's another story though, although there are some fast food restaurants. For the most part, you could be walking down any trail, and on your right, just up the hill, could be your next salad. Alaska Natives, we've been here for thousands of years. We're as much a part of this vast land as the moose in the forest, the fish in the rivers, and the seals in the sea. The only food we ate came from the natural world around us. These foods keep us strong. They keep us connected to the land. More recently, that connection has begun to erode. Foods from outside are easy to prepare and tasty, but somehow they don't seem as fulfilling. That's because they aren't. The fats found in many foods from outside are saturated fats. These are the ones that are associated with heart disease. The unsaturated fats found in fish and sea mammals are much better for us. Non-subsistence foods also have more carbohydrates and refined sugars. These lead to tooth decay and a higher risk of diabetes.
And this is sea mammal dried. And the seal oil is our meat sauce. It's our everyday meat sauce. It's good. It tastes like olive. Or as you chew it, it tastes like coconut.
According to a 1995 study, people who eat seal oil and salmon daily are at a lower risk for diabetes. Good news. Also, scientists have found a chemical in fresh bird meat that helps prevent heart disease. This is Peter Lekanof. He's catching halibut. Now, halibut are rich in omega-3 fatty acids. Can you say omega-3 fatty acids 3 times fast? And omega-3 fatty acids might not sound too appetizing, but people who have a lot of them in their diet are usually healthier and at a lower risk for heart disease. Fish and other meats aren't the only things that are good for us. Walking down a trail, you can find foods growing all around us.
The ladies who used it were able to live longer and happier.
Zelma Axford is a woman that realizes the importance of our native foods. We caught up with her in Venetie, where she was passing her knowledge on to the next generation.
Makes your joints.
Located on the north side of the Chandalar River, Venetie lies 45 miles northwest of Fort Yukon. It's an area that is rich with fish and wildlife, untamed by man. The people of Venetie literally live off the land, using what's around them to make a life for themselves. Fairbanks resident Zelma Axford has been utilizing the vegetation that grows throughout Alaska for most of her life. On her visit to Venetie, Zelma had an opportunity to teach some of the local youth about their surroundings.
We call this silverleaf, but it has big leaves, and the leaves are like lettuce. They're very high nutrient quality for vitamin K, B. And this one, this is root. The bottom part is like sweet potato root. Religion has it, herbal people have it, that this top part has all the aspirin and antibiotics to make you well and better from a cold. They say lung disease and all, headaches, stuff like that. But yeah, this stuff here is edible. It's silverleaf. This is camas here, and it has white flowers. It's probably the most deadliest plant in North America. That's what they teach me. This stuff here. If a cow accidentally eats it, the cows blow up. Or horses. Spruce are edible for people. And early spring, these make good salads, high in vitamin B, and really need it for your body to stay healthy. If you lack the green food in your body, then you're susceptible to sores, your face breaks out, stuff like that. So you really need basic green food. You could read about it in history. Back in the Civil War, they got all kinds of tons of leaves like this and put it in wounds, and it basically cleaned out the wound plus healed it without any pus or infections.
So you just eat it like this? Tell me what that is again.
Huh?
Tell me what that is again. I missed it.
Willow, just willow leaf. Yeah. And good salad. Good salad stuff. Try it.
Come on.
You're not gonna die.
Here. Come on, let's take a bite. Let's go.
I can't see. I don't see anything else in there.
So funny. You turn into a moose when you.
This here is soapberry. Soapberry has a bitter red fruit on it.
You want a bite? Try a little bit out.
I think we have the interior Indians have enough
Sweet.
berries that they don't have to use this. But Tlinkits highly approve the soapberry bush. The berries on there. They whip it up and make it frothy, white stuff, and add sugar or something, and that's their stuff they serve at their potlatches. Sort of like a medicine dish for them. But some of our older trappers and stuff were able to live off this for 3 months at a time if they got lost or something. And it was a good diet. The bark, they peel the bark of the tree, and they could eat the inner cambium, and that's digestible for your system. It helps keep you alive. The ladies who used it were able to live longer and happier, ache-free from rheumatoid or arthritis pain. It's when you get crippling arthritic pain and it cripples your joints and makes your joints swell up in your hands and hips and knees. It's important that they know what's around them, their environment, because it's part of their history, and they're going to make use of this. land. They have to know some of its value. The trees, how long they live. For example, the spruce trees live maximum of 125 years. The birch lives 75 years. And stuff like that are going to be useful to them in their lifetime when they decide on using the land and its sustainability. And I feel like it's important for people to know what could grow up here, what's perennials, what's annuals, what food value could they get out of this or that, and they gain their self-esteem through this, that we know this is our land, and it gives them power to go on and grow.
Another person that is looking out for the next generation is Gary Simple. At his duck camp, just a few miles from Venetie, he's teaching his kids the importance of native foods.
It's really good to bring your kids out in the woods because this is where they learn to depend on you instead of depending on themselves.
As Gary knows, native foods are about more than nutrition. They're also about fresh air and exercise and time spent with the family.
So I encourage people to take their kids out in the woods where the kids learn how to depend on their dad and their mom for survival out there, you know, and build a relationship between you and your kids, you know, out here. It's wonderful because nothing is interference.
That wind will hold us over here anyway.
Way on the other side of the state, Peter Lekanof feels the same way. Peter lives on the remote island of St. George.
The subsistence for the halibut, every other fishery we have here, the fur seal harvest and the sea lion harvest is critical to some people here. This is something we grew up eating, something we're going to always hope to have in the future for the young, you know, our kids, our grandchildren, to preserve what we can now before it's too late. I subsistence a lot, and I live basically off of the subsistence food because it's better for me. It doesn't have all the preservatives and additives that the beef and the steaks and the hamburgers have. Plus, it's better for you. I'm 49, 50 in a few months, which is in September, and I don't feel it. My children, I bringing them up the same way my mom and dad brought me up, living off the land as much as we can. It's kind of spendy to go down and buy a T-bone steak that cost about 12 to 15 bucks for one, where you could get a steak out of a sea lion or a fur seal, it cost you nothing, and it's better for you.
Like Gary, Peter is raising his kids to live off the land and ocean that is all around them.
When he was about 9 years old, he'd be able to skin a fur seal by himself and cut the choice meats out of it. And now he can salt the meat, the flippers, clean the meat, wash the meat, and freeze the meat. He does the same with the birds, the same with the halibut, which he could fillet. He loves the ocean. He loves to hunt the sea lions, and he loves the food that I grew up on. He loves to eat it. I mean, if I put a T-bone steak there and, you know, the subsistence food in front of him, he's going to take the subsistence because it's more filling, and he knows it's better for him.
Hundreds of miles from St. George, Kivalina, Inupiat country, is a subsistence-based community that also depends on the seals for nourishment. Oro Holly lives in Kivalina. Like so many of us, he sees his traditional foods as much more than just a source of energy.
if we did not have seal oil, and we did not have the fish, and we did not have the whales, and we did not have the fowls of the air, the birds, then I would be starving, the children would starve too. And subsistence is a lifestyle that I have lived for 30-some years. And I would never back away from it because it's a daily need within my life that I have to have seal oil. It's a necessity for me to have seal oil within my system. And it stores energy within me, and it keeps me warm during the cold winter, dark nights. And in the spring, then I have warmth from the sun and from the nice warm wind that blows through this village.
You weren't born yet.
Andrew Koenig lives with his family in Kivalina. Like Gary and Peter, he wants his kids to be nourished by the traditional foods he loves.
I may be gone, but my kids and their kids, they will need something to look back to, the food. If I, like the land, the fish and the mammals, we make sure that they have them like we have them today. Because economically, you will not survive just by having a job. When you go to the store and buy $100 grocery bag, it don't last a couple of days with eating a family. So this is what's important. I survived by subsistence use. That's what makes it so important for us.
Andrew isn't the only one who's concerned about the future. Scientists have been finding pollutants in many of the native foods we care so much about.
There's something to eat over here.
Persistent organic pollutants are things like pesticides and other chemicals that are showing up in trace amounts in our marine mammals and fish. They're called persistent for a reason. They take years to decompose. Most of the places that use these chemicals are hundreds, even thousands of miles away. And these chemicals make their way into the oceans and into the atmospheres of the world, making their way up north. And once they're here, they tend to stay. There is some good news, though. The levels of these chemicals are not high enough to cause alarm right now. And a new international treaty signed by the U.S. will ban the use of most of them in the future.
It's Heartbeat Alaska.
When Heartbeat Alaska returns, we'll show you how now, more than ever, our native foods may be just our key to survival. This is dry fish. Our native people love dry fish. Travel with me now to Barrow, Alaska, and we'll try out some of their native food that not only nourishes the body of the people in Barrow, but also nourishes their culture. Alaska, originally called Ukwiavik, is a great spot to harvest foods from the land and sea. George Olemaun explains.
Say 2,000 years ago, these are salt houses that were built according to that with salt and whalebones and sunken entrance or tunnel to keep the cold out. And Ukwiavik means a place where we hunt snow owls.
Over the centuries, the culture here began to revolve around traditional foods. With the discovery of oil and the influx of people and money that followed, Barrow became a modern city. Yet for the natives here, life still revolves around traditional foods. Arnold Brower explains.
Whaling is the nucleus of our culture, and But it's not just whaling, it's all of the things that we do as a community is intertwined with the Inupiat culture. People think this is a seasonal thing about us whaling. It's not. It's a year-round activity. Things we do in our life from summer to fall is as soon as we're done whaling, we have to take the skin off to have blanket toss. Then we have to get some ugruk or seals, bearded seals to get a new skin for the skin boat. We use the skin boats to go after the whales. So this summer we'll be hunting seals to get new skin.
With a store in almost every village these days, it may seem like our traditional foods are not as important as they once were. But if you look a little deeper, you may find that now more than ever, our native foods are the key to survival. This is some good dry meat from Huslia, Alaska. Native food is so good for us. And just as what you eat nourishes your body, what you put into your mind nourishes your soul. Remember that, won't you please? For all of us here on Heartbeat Alaska, I'm Jeannie Green. God bless you. We'll see you again next week.
To purchase a copy of this program, ask for Heartbeat number 12403. That's Heartbeat number 12403. And send your check or money order for $20 to Jeannie Green Productions, 6216 Old Seward Highway, Anchorage, Alaska, 99518. Or give us a call, 907-563-7440.